Before we get in the video, please like, make sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications, go ahead and leave a comment below, and click on the How You Can Help, which brings up the Family Friendly Game website and gives you lots of ideas how you can help us. Thank you. Hey everybody, Paul Murray, Family Friendly Gaming. This is an FFG politics, which I know some people consider controversial. Before I get too much into it, court's in session. I would like you to make sure you hit the notify button, smash the like button, and leave comments after you've watched this video about what your thoughts of this. So this one is about President Trump, and I don't really say ex-president. I always find it really odd. They'll sit there and say president even after they're no longer president, because technically they're not still a president. I mean, they're an ex-president, they were a past president, they were post-president. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of find it really strange, personally. But whatever. But I wanted to kind of give my thoughts and opinions on President Trump. So when it came to President Trump, it is interesting because he is exactly what I predicted would happen. And I've had other videos about this. When it comes to what the political left does, I've noticed over and over and over again, they open Pandora's box and then they expect no one else will follow and do the same thing. So they'll do something new, like they'll redefine words and institutions and language and history, and then they don't expect anyone to correct it or redefine it back, or have a different definition or have a different understanding. It's like they expect everyone to just follow them with whatever lemmings jumping off the cliff concept they come up with next. All my life, I have noticed one thing. So the Democrats have been nasty and hateful to conservatives, Christians, and Republicans. Just horrible. That's been my personal experience, what I have witnessed, what I have seen. There are plenty of examples of it out there. And up until President Trump, the Republicans, the conservatives, the Christians, they would just take it on the chin, 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 just take it, just take it, just take it, just take it, just take it. President George W. Bush was like, I'm not going to get in the mud and the muck and the mire with them when they're making false accusations. President Trump took a completely different direction, and this is what I warned liberals would happen. I said, if you keep doing this, there's eventually going to be a Republican who's not going to sit there and say, I'm not going to go into the mud with you. They're going to go in the mud, they're going to start slinging right back. That's what President Trump did. A lot of the things he said and he tweeted was getting into the mud, the muck, the murk with them, right? And then it's funny, because then they're like, look how horrible he is. He doesn't have temperament to be president because look how nasty he's being. Look at the things he says. Look at how horrible he tweets. Now, part of it was, yes, he was tweeting in the mud and throwing mud right back at them that they were throwing at him, right? So he's acting just like them, right? So it's no different. Yeah, I was like, it's no different at all. The other part was redefinitions. The fake news media just overreacting on things or redefining things. There are things they would sit there and say that he said this, he said that, he tweeted this, he's tweeted that. I went and read the tweet and I'm like, it doesn't say that. Are you off your meds? Did you fall off a rocker and hit your head? I mean, I'm not really comprehending where you're coming from to say these things when it isn't legit. But, you know, sadly, most people don't even bother to research the things for themselves or look at the tweets themselves. They just hear the story or read the story that, you know, CNN or MSNBC says all these hateful, nasty things, and they're trying to cancel President Trump, and that's okay, you know. Kind of, it's ironic that Alec Baldwin is complaining about cancel culture when he was part of it. I mean, maybe even a leader. He was trying to cancel President Trump for 4 years. Then he's fussing about other people trying to be canceled. It kind of goes back to my video about how they want to rig game. But I also want to look at the things he done and he did as president. And I think President Trump did a lot of good things. It's funny, Republicans are usually known for being hawks when it comes to war. But President Trump was trying to do everything possible to get us out of the war. He even met with the leader of North Korea. I mean, he tried diplomatic relations and was opening that door. That to me was like, wow. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect him to do that. He did what he said about lowering taxes, and man, it just worked. Like you know, economists will tell you that all of a sudden, all kinds of jobs. Another really good thing he did, I thought, was the America First concept when it comes to things like manufacturing. It's like he went to companies and said, if you want to ship jobs overseas, that's fine. You're going to pay a fee for it. He also put tariffs on the products coming from overseas. That meant Americans could now create the same products and compete in the marketplace. I've always been big on being as self-reliant as possible. So to me, that was awesome. That was like, good job, buddy. I really like that. I really loved the lower taxes. I really loved him focusing on this. And also, you know, you heard, I remember in the debates, Hillary Clinton telling coal workers that, well, they're just going to have to find a different job and have to cross-train and do something different. President Trump said no. He supported them and their industry, and it did great for them. And that's one of the things I've always kind of been baffled by. And it's like, well, you have to cross-train. You have to go figure something out. You have to go program. Look, I worked with a lumberjack who became a programmer. It was not pretty. He tried hard. He was the Rudy of programming. But honestly, he was not very good at it. He didn't get the concepts. There's a certain mindset you have to have as a computer programmer. He didn't have it. He just did not do well. And unfortunately, they had to let him go because he deleted Tim asterisk dot asterisk. Can you guess some very important programs? Start with TIM, timesheet, time clock. Yes. He deleted the production timesheet, the production time clock, because he started all his programs, TIM 100, TIM 200, TIM 3000, TIM 5000, you know. So when he wanted to delete a bunch of his programs, and here's the thing, I don't know why you would ever want to delete your programs. I never deleted a program I created ever. You keep it out there. There might be something in there that you can use later. So just wanting to do that was just a pain. And I know I've chased a little rabbit here, and some people get all mad at me about chasing rabbits. And they're like, you should watch your videos and pay attention and not chase rabbits. Look, I'm being real, genuine, honest, and this is who I am. So if you don't like it, I am sorry. Moving on. Trying to remember what else he did. He actually did a really good job with Project Warp Speed for the Chinese COVID-19 reaction. I think he did a great job with that. He really got private industry engaged and moving and going. And I don't think we would have had the vaccines as fast as we did without President Trump doing what he did. You know, I love how he supported our allies, you know, like Israel. And he was really encouraging the UK, and I think Brexit probably came about partially because of President Trump pointing out, you know, we shouldn't be sending hundreds of millions of dollars to foreign countries while we still have problems we need to take care of here in America. You know, he did a great job on the border, and that really lowered a lot of the criminals coming across. You might like want to debate that. You know, you can leave a comment below. Make sure you turn on the notifications. The thing is, we know for a fact that criminals have illegally crossed the border. They have gotten caught. They have gotten arrested for committing crimes. This is not like a debatable fact. This is the truth. It's easily, you know, found out. You can sit there and go search on it and you can find out, you know, illegal immigrants committing crimes. It has happened. There has been rapes of people trying to cross the border when the coyotes are abusing their position of power and they fleece the people for all kinds of money to get them across. So this isn't like something like just, oh, this is genuine facts and reality. And I hate to say it for those who don't like it, but that's the truth. I think he did a really good job supporting the military, bringing the military back up to speed from the decimation it had from previous administrations. He got us better trade deals with like China, with Mexico, with Canada. So I think those have all been great things. I'm trying to think, you know, about anything he did wrong aside from some of the, you know, getting down in the mud, the muck and the mire with the tweets. I mean, I really can't think of anything else. And if you can think of something, please leave a comment below, and I'll as long as you keep it civil, polite, and no profanity, I can respond to it and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna look into that, or yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, I'm far from perfect, so I could forget things. I really loved when they had the government shutdown and he sat there and fed. He paid for and fed. I think it was like the college team that won, maybe. And I know the media was just freaking all out that he had bought them, like McDonald's and Burger King and KFC and whatever else. I don't remember. It was fast food. But you know what? They liked it. They enjoyed it. They had a great time. I don't understand. Those didn't like it. I know he had to deal with lots of leaks. There was 2 impeachments. Both of them were political, and I'm not even sure they really hit the level of high crimes and misdemeanors. I mean, it didn't even seem to hit that. It just seemed like they were the Democrats were trying to do anything to attack him, and I know it was extremely controversial, both of the impeachments. The second one, very, very questionable about what he said, and them trying to claim that was instigating violence. I mean, it's not like the violence, like say Colin Kaepernick or BLM have put out there. The legit violence that they've actually done and requested. In fact, there was even a BLM guy who was in the Capitol protests who was there causing trouble, and they discovered him. So we knew that there were people pretending to be Trump supporters who were actually there to try to make Trump supporters look bad. And then that, to me, that is so beyond the pale. Doing something like that, just being so hateful and nasty. And as we're looking at the months thus far of Joe Biden, the disaster, it's almost like the return of Jimmy Carter, but worse. So a lot of us are going, man, things were so much better under Trump. I've been talking to a lot of independent voters, and they're like, I have Biden regrets already. I want to change my vote right now. I know you can talk about the election fraud accusations by President Trump. I know Arizona has been going through an audit. I haven't heard results of the audit thus far. I know very few in the past would have made that accusation. I mean, there has been voter fraud for a long time, and it is kind of a shame that the courts didn't allow the evidence to be presented. I would have liked to have found out what all evidence was being presented. The courts just kind of threw things out and didn't even look at it. That was dismaying. I can understand the viewpoint that he wasn't being very presidential by constantly mentioning that talking point. And I guess in that regard, I kind of think it might be like, what? I think we need to have investigations to make sure it was a fair election and there wasn't any kind of underhanded things going on. I know a lot of times they say, there's no proof of widestream voter fraud that would have swayed the outcome of the election. If we don't investigate it, we don't really know, is my opinion. And so I always like to try to deal in facts as much as possible. If you don't know what happened, I do know it was suspicious that he was way up in some states, and then they stopped voting for so many hours, and all of a sudden he was behind when they started voting again. That's suspicious. I agree with everyone who uses that evidence, that is very suspicious. That happened in the middle of the night, happened at 3 a.m. It's kind of like, I can't remember, one of the states or some county where it was something like Biden got so many 100,000 and Trump got 0. And statistically, that is very, very rare something like that could happen. In fact, it's statistically lower than the people who die from COVID-19. So you go, I wonder what's going on there. But I don't really jump on the conspiracy theories. I do look at them and go, this is definitely evidence. There's some smoke here, there's some smoke there. I wonder if there was targeted voter fraud. And by targeted voter fraud, you might be like, okay, certain counties that are real fortresses for the Democrats, if they maybe just found or manufactured a bunch of extra votes for Biden. So they got themselves over the number so he would win. Like I said, that could be targeted voter fraud. Now, I don't have evidence. I also know there's been accusations against those voting machines. I haven't seen the evidence on that either. So even though I've heard the accusation, I would like to see evidence before I would make a determination one way or another. I would like to say I would have preferred President Trump not running around having rallies and saying that there was voter fraud and the election was stolen and stuff like that. Because personally, like I said, I believe in evidence. And it's one thing to say, hey, we have some suspicions of it based on these facts, based on this evidence, that, you know, like I said, that there was 100K for one and 0 for another. That's suspicious. You stop counting for 3 hours and all of a sudden you found all these votes. That's suspicious. I know there's that video, I think I saw it on YouTube, about where, I think it was in Georgia and Atlanta, they sent out all the poll workers and told them we're done counting after they all left and the press left, and then they pull some boxes of ballots out from under the there was like one of those trays with wheels. They had like if you were getting some food delivered to you at a nice hotel, and it was kind of had the blanket over it type of deal, and then they pull up that blanket and they pull out some boxes. I know that was, and because they had the video going, they also reported, and a lot of media outlets have reported that there was actually a burst pipe. That's why they had stopped counting, and then the camera video shows they were still counting without the poll workers there, or as far as the independent, whatever they call them, the people who watch it, the viewers, and the press were all sent home, and then they did it afterwards. So that to me was suspicious, that they did stuff like that things like that happened. But I said, you're talking about different targeted areas, and that's why I say possibly targeted, you know. But again, I really wish President Trump hadn't you know, said for certain that the election was stolen and everything. I understand his sentiment there, but like, to me, I wouldn't do something like that. I would sit there and say, here's the issues. And the other thing is, I don't understand, once the courts refused to look at the evidence, why he didn't make that public. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have been a huge news story if him or Rudy Giuliani and whoever else was on his team, if they have all this evidence of targeted voter fraud, they should have released it. And they should have released it by now, instead of just constantly saying the same thing. So, like I said, I go on the side of evidence. I really wish he wouldn't have said and done that. To me, that was a bit of sour grapes on his part. So if you're looking for anything where I'm going to critique or criticize President Trump, that would be it. Like I said, on top of the other issues I brought in the past in this video. So that's kind of all the thoughts I have about President Trump, and I do appreciate the fact that he wasn't a politician. I've been a big long proponent for lifetime term limits of politicians, so I'd say somewhere between 20 and 30 years of your life you could be a politician. That's all the way from local dog catcher all the way up to President of the United States. So any political position whatsoever. That I think after somewhere between 20 and 30 years would be more than enough, and you should go do a regular job. You know, I don't think, I'm sick and tired of these people who have been in there 50 years, 40 years, 60 years. No, stop. Don't do this anymore. I want you to sit there and get out in the real world, because I believe they lose touch and they lose context. So that's my thoughts on President Trump. I've given positive, I've given negative, and like I said, please leave a comment below. I thank everyone for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.